Are you tired of writer's block and feeling stuck in your writing projects? You're not alone. Happens to me all the time. But don't worry, because by the end of this video, you'll have 7 writing resources in your toolkit to help you tackle everything from brainstorming ideas to the final edit. I'm Craig Scott, a certified genealogist, fellow of the Utah Genealogical Association, and author of 17 books and countless articles. As a professional genealogist and historical researcher for over 35 years, I'm here to help to convert people doing genealogy into genealogists. For more genealogy advice, be sure to subscribe to this channel and get notified when I upload a new video. And if you find that I have value, please tell your friends. You'd be surprised how many places I've spoken where nobody in the audience has even heard of Just Genealogy. And we've been doing this a while. Before I go into each tool, I want to first say that the writing tools you choose will be a function of the size of your project. Little things may not require the tools. Big things might. It's also a function of how much time you have. I try to fix it so I have a lot of time. If I have a lot of time, I'm able to use the tools, and they make my life so much easier. If I don't have much time, I just bull my way, China shop it all the way through, tools or no tools, and I may use pieces of things to get the job done on time. Very rarely am I unable to get the job on time, but then that's the subject of another video dealing with procrastination. My favorite writing tool is a screenshot, or in other words, a web clipper tool. Part of my writing process is to look for things that I might want to write about in the future. I have file folders, gigabytes worth of data by subject and topic, that if I need to write something about something, largely because somebody asked me to write about it, I have something on hand to work with, to build on. So at least maybe I have the foundation of what I'm going to be dealing with. Usually when I write to images. That image is worth 1,000 words, so I should be able to come up with 25 to 50 of them. The web clipper tool or the screenshot tool is by far my most useful tool in preparing to write and my brainstorming. Now, there are a lot of options for clipper tools out there, so let's talk about some of the ones I've had the most experience with. If you're on a Mac, which I've been on a Mac since there was the first Mac, I'm an Apple II user from 1978, to give you some idea, then you're very familiar with Command-Shift-4. And on a PC, I understand you can use Windows key Shift-S to do the same thing. They're called snipping tools, and I use them all the time, every day, one way or the other. If I see something I like, something that I think may have some value to me in the future, it gets clipped and put in a folder somewhere on my computer. I think I have 6 terabytes on my computer and 8 terabytes on a disk drive next door. If you have Microsoft Office, OneNote, there's a good web clipper extension there, but it's part of your subscription. And even though it's part of my subscription, I've never used it, but it's there and you're already paying for it. Now, something I used very early on before these keystroke snippet tools were available was Snagit, and Snagit still exists. I used it for many years. It was affordable. I don't know what it is now, but there's an annual subscription. And when I used it, it was very valuable. I used to use Evernote for this kind of thing, for storing these kind of things. And years ago, it was very popular. But I found that it just got to be too expensive for me, and the price has gone up a lot. But it is one option to consider. The next tool I use, and I use it a lot every day, in fact, is Google Docs. Now, you're probably thinking you know all about Google Docs already, but I don't use it in writing. I use it to collect information and to communicate with people. So I can use it in team projects, and this is how I do teamwork. This is how I store things when the project begins to come together. I also store them in Microsoft PowerPoint if I've decided that probably this is an image that I'm going to use. An even better option for collecting information, storing it in one place, is Scrivener. And to be honest, I've heard about Scrivener for years. I've taken lots of courses on Scrivener, and I never spent the time to really learn about it until recently. Scrivener doesn't just help you store writing like a word processing program, but it allows you to organize it better. So it's much easier in Scrivener to move things around than it is in Microsoft Word. So if you're in a position where you're not sure how it's going to turn out and you're flying by the seat of your pants, which I actually do often, at least in the beginning, then Scrivener is a good place to store things and then move them around. As I said, I just recently started to use it and I've not had a final product yet. So I really can't speak to what it looks like in the final. I just know what it looks like in the interim. The next tool is Microsoft Word. And to be honest, it's not my favorite. I'm not sure I have a favorite. In the old days, there was WordPerfect. It still exists, I understand. I never really learned it, but the few times I interacted with it, I liked it because it didn't force me to do things like Microsoft Word forces me to do. I think it's that forcing that causes me more difficulty than anything else. It's just like in this Zoom thing right here, we're dealing with this in and out thing that you keep seeing me move closer and farther away. I'm forced to do that too. And I'm trying to learn new products to get me away from it, but it's just the way it is right now. I like using Word from the perspective of I can see how many pages I have, if you think that's helpful. And I can get a word count, if you think that's helpful. I actually do that word count a lot as I near the end of a project because usually I am constrained by the number of words I can have. It also will allow me to create tables and charts, and visualization of some things are very important in articles and in writing. And as a reviewer for the National Genealogical Society editorial board for the past almost 30 years, I really appreciate a chart when I see an article. Regardless of what I'm reading, I like seeing a chart. It's like a roadmap. It helps me to visualize much better than having to deal with the words. You also are going to have to create tables and charts to help your reader visualize information that may be a little bit complex and maybe not so complex. But I find that a table or a chart improves my understanding of any article that I read. Now, you can use that which is in Microsoft Word, or you can also use Google Sheets. And Google Sheets tends to be my go-to program for doing that kind of thing. I do not like Excel, largely because of the way I normally use Excel. And I'm not, many people use it as a database. I don't use it as a database. There are constraints, there are visualization issues, there are things I just don't like about Excel. Autofill and autocorrect, I definitely don't like, but I always forget to turn it on or forget to turn it off, those kind of things, and it's just really frustrating for me. Now, there are editing tools that are critical to my writing process. I have two tools that I use to edit in my writing projects, and they're the same two tools I use in my everyday life in communicating with other people. The first is Grammarly, which of course helps me with my grammar, and my grammar sucks. I don't understand things like prepositions, and I know what a noun is and I know what a verb is, and I know I use too many adverbs, those kind of things. I also know I have passive voice. I use the paid plan and it integrates with the software that I use, like Microsoft Word. It integrates with my email. I'm a happy camper. The other is Hemingway Editor. I don't use it as much as I used to, but I still use it often. And the reason is because I'm looking to get rid of passive voice. I'm looking to get rid of too many adverbs. I'm looking to get rid of course, spelling. But there also is the issue is that it will tell me what grade level I'm writing to. And I try to write to the 7th grade most times. If I'm above 7th, I try to bring it down because I want people to understand what I'm talking about. Now, there is a free version, but I use the paid one because I just like it better. Some things are just worth paying for. There is, I believe, although I haven't upgraded to it, a paid plus version with AI tools for things like adjusting tone, grammar, and wordiness. I'm not to that point yet. I don't think I ever will be. That said, I do use AI, but I don't use AI on the front end. I use ChatGPT and Claude AI. I use them on the back end. In other words, after I finish something, I then go to AI to check and see if I missed anything. Did I miss something? So a question that I always ask myself in my writing. Now, I don't use it on the front end for a very specific reason. One, it limits you. In other words, instead of you writing what you know, you're going to write what AI knows. And you're not being paid, or not paid for that matter, to do things that anybody could pick up from AI, because all you have to do in AI is know how to ask the right question. Now, that sometimes takes effort, but still not much compared to reading my article or reading my book. Use AI, sure, but use it on the back end, not the front end. Besides, these days, with so many people using AI to write stuff, you can tell in a minute whether it was written by AI or not. And AI isn't necessarily correct. Remember, we're in the business of helping convert people doing genealogy. Those people have a lot of incorrect stuff. Into genealogists, they have less incorrect stuff. So to recap, my top favorite tools are the web clipper tools for annotating and brainstorming, Google Docs for collecting information, and Scrivener also. And again, if it's going to be a lecture, it's going to go into a PowerPoint presentation. Scrivener will allow me to gather and organize my notes so that I can get into the business of writing. I use Word and Google Sheets for tables. Grammarly and Hemingway help me polish it when it's done. Get rid of my passive voice and my too many adverbs and things like that. Well, that's it. Pretty simple. Actually, not very expensive. If you like this video, please let me know by liking this video. Subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends if you think I add value to your day. And comment below with which tools you're going to use to implement in your next writing project, or tell me what tools you use in your writing projects. And if I've missed something, let me know about it. I'm always open to learning about new tools that will make my life easier. This has been Craig, and this has been Just Genealogy. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe.